I want to teach you some advanced C2 phrases to help you build your vocabulary. And C2 is Cambridge's highest level, which shows that you are basically a proficient English speaker. Now, you are probably looking at me and thinking, hey, this guy looks familiar, but perhaps you can't quite put your finger on it. And that is the first phrase that I want to teach you, to put my finger on something. This means to discover the exact reason why a situation is the way it is. And there are three things that I want to tell you about this phrase. Now, often the something is just going to be it, which is talking about the situation, to put my finger on it. The next thing that you should know is you're likely to hear this being used with the negative. I cannot put my finger on it, or I'm not able to put my finger on it. And finally, I think most of the time you're going to hear this phrase being used with can't quite. I can't quite put my finger on it. Now, I said that maybe you think I look familiar, but you can't quite put your finger on it. So let me help you. Maybe you think that I look a little like Mr. Beast or Andy from The Office. I get that from time to time. When pronouncing this phrase, keep in mind linking may occur. This is when we link the final consonant sound of one word with the beginning vowel sound of the next word. And it's almost like we're moving that consonant sound over. So we can link the phrase finger on it, finger on it. I can't quite put my finger on it. Just listen for it.
Something evil.
I can't put my finger on it.
There's just one thing missing.
What?
Well, I can't quite put my finger on it.
Something was off, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
So as we go through the lesson, I am going to teach you the meaning of each phrase. I'll talk about how it's commonly used, as well as go over the pronunciation so that you can say them just like me. And if you are someone who enjoys building your vocabulary, please subscribe, turn on notifications. That way I can become your teacher. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English. It's all about trying to help you reach your fluency goals. And if you don't subscribe, you're going to be kicking yourself later. And that is the next phrase that I want to teach you, to kick yourself. It's not a good thing. This is used to say that you are very annoyed with yourself because you've done something stupid or you've missed out on the chance to do something. Now, often you may follow this phrase with the preposition for, to kick yourself for, well, doing something or for not doing something. So let me give you some examples of things that I have been kicking myself for. So I've been kicking myself for not investing in Apple stock many years ago. I've also been kicking myself for eating chocolate late at night, and that's because it just doesn't help me sleep. And I've also been kicking myself for not exercising enough this year. That is something that I told myself that I was going to do, and I haven't done enough of it. And that's why I've been kicking myself for it. Just keep in mind, we're going to use the reflexive pronoun to kick myself for something, to kick yourself, to kick himself, to kick herself, and we use that reflexive pronoun. For pronunciation, I think it's pretty simple and straightforward. You're just going to say one word right after the other, to kick yourself.
You know, your mom's kicking herself for missing your swim team finals.
I still kick myself for missing that topless cheerleader parade with a 100-foot chocolate teddy bear.
Today you don't like boo-boo, but tomorrow you might. And you'll be kicking yourself for not entering this contest.
Now, if you would like to improve your speaking and pronunciation skills because maybe you think you're making a slight mistake, but you can't quite put your finger on it, well, there's a great app that I think can help you. So let me quickly tell you about the sponsor of today's lesson, ELSA Speak. This is an app that I first heard about from many of you, so let's check it out. You just download the app and then you can start exploring many of the different features. You can have AI conversations, practice daily lessons, improve pronunciation. Let's say that you want to focus on a specific topic like small talk. You just go to study by topic, small talk, and there are many different lessons to choose from. But I think one of the coolest features is to be able to practice words and phrases that you want to learn. So I can just put in the sentence, I can't quite put my finger on it, and then we can listen to it.
I can't quite put my finger on it.
And then practice saying it. I can't quite put my finger on it. Now let me show you what happens if I make a pronunciation mistake. I can't quite put my finger on it. As you can see, you get instant feedback, which then allows you to try to make adjustments. So use the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to download ELSA and get 7 days of a pro membership for free. Or you can use the other link in the description to get 85% off a lifetime membership or 40% off a 1-year membership. So take advantage of this opportunity so that you're not kicking yourself later, and check out the links and discounts below. Let's get back to our C2 phrases, and the next one that I have for you is at your own risk. This is really used to serve as a warning, with full understanding that what you're doing is dangerous and you are responsible for your own safety. So it's like you can do something dangerous, but you are responsible, so you should do it at your own risk. To help give you a better understanding as to how this phrase is used, I have some news headlines for you. Beware. Typing these 4 characters will make your iPhone crash. Do at your own risk. Toboggan at your own risk. Town of Newmarket advises. And enter outer space at your own risk. I know that's risky and probably something that many of us don't have to worry about. When pronouncing this phrase, you should know that assimilation may occur. This is when 2 sounds, they blend together to create a new sound. So the T and Y may blend together and you get this slight ch sound. And it's almost like we're going to put that ch sound between at and your, and that allows us to connect the words together. At your own risk. Linking may also occur, and we can link the final consonant sound in your with the beginning vowel sound in own. At your own risk. Now, one thing I want you to be aware of is that assimilation may not always occur. You may hear people pronounce the words individually. Here are some examples.
Get involved at your own risk.
Enter at your own risk.
Camp at your own risk.
But you may hear people blend those sounds as well as link that phrase. So here are some examples, and I want you to listen for those 2 things.
I'd enter at your own risk.
No lifeguard on duty. Swim at your own risk.
Get a move on. I like this phrase. It just means to hurry. And often I think you're going to use it as a command. Maybe you tell someone, get a move on, or let's get a move on. So this is an excellent way to add emphasis. Instead of saying hurry up, just say get a move on.
Are you listening? Get a move on.
Go on.
No, I'm not doing it.
Get a move on.
Got a hit. 70s Charger. Gotta move on.
For pronunciation, the final T in get, you're going to hear me pronounce it as a flap T. It's going to sound like a soft D. And this is very common with the American accent because, well, I'm from the US. So when the T comes between 2 vowel sounds, many Americans may pronounce it as a flap T. And then I can link the flap T with the article a. Get a move on. Perhaps you are thinking right now, let's get a move on to our next phrase, which is hard to come by. So if you say that something is hard to come by, it refers to getting something using effort or by chance or just in a way that has not been explained. Now, this is a picture that my little girl drew. It's very valuable to me. There's not anything like it. I'm not going to sell it to you because I could say pictures like this are very hard to come by. Actually, we have quite a few of them, but that's just an example. Now, you may sometimes hear people say that something is difficult to come by, and if you want to compare the frequency, we can check out Ngram Viewer. And as you can see, it's more common to say that something is hard to come by. When pronouncing this phrase, I just want you to know that the word to actually has 2 different pronunciations, a strong form and a weak form. The strong form, to, just sounds like the number. The weak form, t, has more of a schwa sound. It's much softer. And this is because to, as a function word, it often gets reduced and the vowel sound's going to change slightly. To come by. Something is hard to come by. I just want you to listen for that weak to.
True friends are hard to come by.
Second chances are really hard to come by.
Things happen on the street. Proof is hard to come by.
We seek political asylum.
Visas are extremely hard to come by.
Then we have make a run for it. This means to suddenly start running in order to escape from somewhere. So this is another phrase that you can use to really add emphasis. It's starting to rain, we'd better make a run for it. Here are some funny memes to give you a little more context. Let's make a run for it. She can't catch both of us. I don't always get out of prison, but when I do, I make a run for it. Should we make a run for it? He ain't got no backup. When pronouncing this phrase, more linking may occur. We can link two different phrases, make a and for it, to make a run for it.
That's it! We're making a run for it! We're going for the rock!
Okay, maybe we can make a run for it. Just get to the car.
Then there's lose count. This means to not be able to remember how many times something has happened, or just to forget a number or total. So often you're going to follow this phrase with the preposition of, to lose count of something. I could say, I lost count of how much money we spent last month. Also, because of the meaning, not remembering something in the past, you're often going to use this phrase in the past, using the past simple or the present perfect. I could say, I don't know how many students I've taught over the years. I've lost count. So as you can see, it's much more common to say I lost count or I've lost count as opposed to saying I lose count in the present. For pronunciation, if using this phrase in the past, elision may occur. This is when sounds or syllables get removed. So the final T in lost may elide because it comes between two consonant sounds, and you don't really hear it. I've lost count or I lost count. Here are some examples.
How many times have you been cloned?
I've lost count.
How many do you have now?
I don't know, 8,009.
You lost count?
Time for phase 5 of my plan. Or possibly phase 4. Or possibly phase 6. I've entirely lost count.
From top to bottom. Another phrase that I really like, it just means completely, thoroughly, all parts of something. And again, you're really adding emphasis that something has been done completely. Often you may end up using this phrase at the end of a statement. If I were to say, I want you to paint this fence from top to bottom. Or they clean the house from top to bottom. Or we're going to have to search the office from top to bottom. For pronunciation, once again, you're going to hear that weak to, top to bottom. And the word bottom, you're going to hear me pronounce those T's as a flat T because they come between two vowel sounds. Bottom. From top to bottom.
I'm in charge of discipline, conduct, and truancy. From top to bottom, K through 12.
Meaning we will burn the program to the ground. And I mean from top to bottom.
Rhode Island's a mess from top to bottom.
During which you will do all your homework and clean the apartment from top to bottom.
Then there's follow suit. This just means to do the same as someone else. It's like you're saying somebody does something and then another person follows suit. Maybe I tell you, well, I'm going to quit my job, and I think some of my colleagues plan to follow suit. They're going to do the same. To give you more context, here are some news headlines. Brazil just banned X. Could other countries follow suit? Man driven to clear road of litter. Hopes others follow suit. And in this case, driven just means someone is compelled to do something. And yeah, let's hope that others follow suit. As US Fed slashes rate, expectations grow that Korea will follow suit next month. I don't think the pronunciation is too difficult. The word suit can be a little tricky because that ooh vowel sound, it's a little longer, but your lips are rounded, your tongue is going to be high in your mouth. So just say it after me. Suit. To follow suit. You got it.
He's since started a trend here in Hollywood, with other celebrities following suit.
An hour ago, China mobilized forces, and now Russia's following suit.
I was playing it cool. You were too. I was just following suit.
The next phrase is in attendance. This just means present at a function or place. And often you would say that someone is in attendance. Generally, this is going to refer to an important person. It could be a celebrity or even a family member. It just really depends on the event. Or perhaps it could be used to highlight a great number of people. If I were to say thousands were in attendance. To give you some examples, I could say graduation is a memorable event. Will your parents be in attendance? Because yeah, they are important people. Or thousands of people are in attendance for the Super Bowl matchup. Taylor Swift and Johnny Depp are some of the celebrities in attendance. When pronouncing this phrase, just keep in mind more linking may occur, linking the final consonant sound in with the vowel sound in attendance. In attendance.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world.
There's going to be a ribbon-cutting ceremony with Governor Dooley in attendance.
I intend to propose to her tonight at the restaurant. Our friends and family in attendance.
Then there's the phrase to have a chip on your shoulder. It's not a good thing because it means that you are angry all the time because you've been treated unfairly, or you just feel like you're not as good as other people. So think about situations that involve, well, groups of people. Perhaps there is an athlete or a celebrity who feels that they have been treated unfairly by the media. And yeah, this happens. Maybe they really show that anger, and then you could say, he or she has a chip on his or her shoulder. And I do want to point out the grammar because we're using a subject pronoun as well as a possessive adjective. I have a chip on my shoulder, maybe you have a chip on your shoulder, he has a chip on his shoulder, or she has a chip on her shoulder. When pronouncing this phrase, more linking may occur. There are actually two different phrases that we can link. Have a, as well as chip on. To have a chip on your shoulder.
You're stubborn, you have a chip on your shoulder, you don't care if your coworkers like you.
Somebody's got to show him how the real world works. Kid's got a chip on his shoulder, 23, he's still living at home.
Don't give them a reason to say to the press you have a chip on your shoulder. Will you do that for me?
I don't have a chip on my shoulder.
Then there's I wouldn't dream of doing something. This is used to say that you would not do something because you think it's wrong or silly. So really you're adding emphasis and assuring someone that, look, this is not going to happen. Maybe I tell you, look, you can't quit your job. And you respond and say, I wouldn't dream of it. And that's something that I wanted to point out, is that often that something is going to be it when talking about the situation. I wouldn't dream of it. Now, you may use never with this phrase. I would never dream of. But as you can see, it's just more common to say wouldn't. I wouldn't dream of it. And if I'm not going to use it, keep in mind, you're going to follow this phrase with the gerund. I wouldn't dream of doing something. I could say, I wouldn't dream of quitting my job because I really love being a part of your English learning journey. For pronunciation, there's more linking the final consonant sound in dream with the vowel sound in of, dream of. I wouldn't dream of it.
You're not staying here tonight, Lillian.
I wouldn't dream of it.
We can't leave him waiting.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Temper. I wouldn't dream of challenging you.
Oh no, we can go home by ourselves.
I wouldn't dream of leaving you alone.
Let's do a little review. I really appreciate that you've been here in attendance for this lesson. And now that you've learned these phrases from top to bottom, I hope that you go out and use them because you need to practice them like I'm using them right now so that you don't forget. And you don't want to be in the middle of a conversation and say, look, I know the phrase, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. So one suggestion is that you just continue building your vocabulary by watching another video lesson. And if you do that, I think other people will follow suit. Now, I understand if you have to go and you can't watch another lesson right now, and then you're not going to keep building your vocabulary, so do so at your own risk. But I definitely think if you don't watch another lesson, you're probably going to be kicking yourself later because quality lessons like this are hard to come by. So I'm going to wrap things up and make a run for it. But if you enjoyed the lesson and learned something new, please hit that like button. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. So long.